taken away by this music and like, you know, not having any constraint and people releasing their inhibitions. I think that you can only do that if you feel absolutely comfortable.
Who's your 3 most influential people?
I suppose it's the 3 boys, isn't it? Alfie, Alfredo, PP,
As a DJ, that
and
makes sense.
Cesar.
Yeah, as a DJ, that probably makes sense.
Being around the very, very early days, and you know, you're talking like the 80s, you know, where those guys
They were
they were music conductors. They played 12-hour sets.
Welcome to the Ibiza Hall of Fame podcast. My name is Clara Griffin, your host, and alongside me is Big Al, our co-host. Today's guest is widely regarded as one of the pioneering female DJs. She's also referred as the first lady of dance music. She was a key figure on events such as Clockwork Orange, Miss Moneypennies, and Manumission. She played a vital role in shaping house music culture across the UK and beyond. Please welcome our guest, Lisa Loud.
Hi, Lisa.
Welcome, Lisa. Thank you so much for being on our show.
Thanks for having me. Look at Alan. You know, this is an Ibiza veteran who still looks 30.
I wish.
You know? You're looking good, babe.
65.
Wow. Well, you need a crown for that or something. We need to make an award just for that.
Facelift.
It's not needed, quite honestly.
Too fat for it.
In the archive footage, you haven't aged at all.
Right? I'm telling you.
It's all of Ibiza, right? Keep
Making
young.
me blush.
It's all they got to do is shave once a week, you know? Simple.
So thank you for sharing your Ibiza story with us. We'll go right to the beginning. When was the first year that you visited Ibiza?
I had been to Ibiza before, but the Ibiza where it was going to sort of make an impact on me and change my life was 1986. And then 1987 was a year where I got completely swept up in it all and kind of forgot to go home. So, yeah. So I guess, you know, impacted 86. As far as 87 goes, it was just like, what's going on?
87 was the beginning, wasn't it? Of that,
It was-
of our era, the dance
I think
music.
so.
Yeah.
I
mean,
think
I was going since 80 and it was jazz funk and stuff like that. But 87, late 87, 88 was...
You see, the thing is, you reference jazz funk, you know, if you look back about everything that, you know, I grew up on Motown. My father was like really big on Pink Floyd, Tina Turner, you know, anyone that had a really good voice or real presence, that was, you know, where my dad's music had sort of followed. For me, there needed to be a soul element. So like Sade for me was just a goddess. Yeah. And then, you know, I used to go to like Nicky Holloway's disco pubs in like, you know, before 1986, you know, and soul weekenders and stuff like that. So I think...
The Trip, he used to do the Trip and all that kind of stuff, didn't he? Yeah.
I think what happened in Ibiza was this, you know, vast change of like...
Clashes. I call it a clash of musics because when we first went out there in the late 80s doing parties, you had Alfredo, PP and Cesar, and they were playing their Balearics and stuff like that. So when we took the house DJs out, it was like a collision of 2 genres.
Minds.
And then suddenly created something completely new, which, you know, and that's something that you were a part of.
Yeah, you know, I mean, Alfredo just blew our minds. So we were all a bunch of old soul girls from the Walworth Road, you know, southeast London. And we ended up in Ibiza, you know, where the sun's shining every day. There's freedom. One minute you're talking to someone from Paris, the next minute you're talking to an Italian.
Every day's Saturday, isn't it?
Yeah, and then
It is, every day's Saturday. But that's what people don't realise. It doesn't matter if it's Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday. It's just like a Saturday, basically.
Yeah. You know, that whole thing about siesta used to become a bit of it was almost a bit of a joke because it was like, you know, Ibiza's on like a permanent siesta because there were no rules. There was no formality. There was no, you know, you get up at 9, you finish at 5, you do a day's work, you know, because in essence, really, what made Ibiza survive was, you know, the kind of tourist contingency sort of coming in and enjoying the magic and the spirit of Ibiza. And when I say that, I don't mean when it got overrun or badly portrayed with Brits or, you know, whatever the directive was with various things shows that sort of, you know, portrayed Ibiza a certain way. What I saw and what
You see the real Ibiza.
I just saw this like, you know, this like
the music,
mad,
the
worldwide congregation of people that were
all of the same mind.
Taken away by this music and like, you know, not having any constraints, and time zones were like, I mean, you know.
You went home when you went home, didn't you?
And it was, and things that were important were like seeing the sunset, because that was spiritual, or, you know, going to the croissant show after Amnesia, or, you know, whatever, or there was like little kind of pivotal sort of landmarky things that were around that whole experience that sort of made you feel like, you know, there were no rules. Like I was getting a croissant and like sneaking back into Amnesia, you know, with like a croissant, like we were eating them, you know, or whatever, you know. It was
for us Brits. It was something completely different, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So we turned up on that island and realised we didn't have to. We just did what we wanted to do, and that
didn't have to behave, you know.
It was quite okay to misbehave, basically, wasn't it? But, you know, but I mean, they have sanitised it more these days, but
it's a very different place.
Different place, but it's evolved, isn't it? It's grown and it's done. You know, it's evolved into what it is. It's just.
Like everything does, you know, we are sitting here talking about it as something that majorly influenced our lives, and we are 4 decades, you possibly 5 decades into visiting this place that has inspired you for whatever reason. You know, we are from a creative and music world, so ultimately there would have been that impacted us. It was like, for me, it was the fresh sounds of Ibiza, you know, something was completely, you know, different to me. It was switching me on in a completely different way, because everything that I was going out to, I was listening to at home, whereas I went to Ibiza and I was
doing it in the sun. But you're doing it with sunshine.
It's like, I'm like looking up there in the start, I'm watching night become day and day become night.
Yeah, early days with Amnesia and Cood being open air and Esparadis.
Where am
Fantastic. I know, it's amazing, wasn't it? It's hard to explain that.
It really is.
Because it was pretty amazing with the early days.
So lucky.
I mean, we do. Listen, we always the old school always say our era was the best because we were young at that point. But you know, I mean, things have evolved. I mean, Coo from being open air with a swimming pool, now it's Universe, which is like an amazing mega club, isn't it? So it's
but in the same instance, it's like there's either people that are interested in the scene, not the I'm now a superstar DJ and I'm going to get my tits out and benefit from it. Yeah. You know, people that are interested in the scene. Got so many lovely friends that, you know, if we actually go away and congregate together somewhere, meet in Ibiza, meet in Amsterdam, meet wherever, and you do sit there and still have that young element about you where, you know, you're up. People say to me, listen loudly, I could literally listen to you for days, you know, just because, you know, they weren't there. Yeah. They go to Ibiza. It was different.
Drinks and that, but then everyone they start talking about the old days. So one of the things we always ask about Ibiza is the magic of Ibiza.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you've been bitten by that magic, haven't you? Like I have, and like lots of other people have. Can you explain that magic?
You know, like music, vibes, people, I'm an adrenaline junkie, you know, I absolutely love people happy, you know, like being lost in the music, having no timeline, you know, things like that for me were just like the pivotal kind of essence of my enjoyment factor of Ibiza. The people thing, meeting people, I was so turned on by, like, one minute I'm like talking to like this bunch of Brazilians, and then the next minute I'm talking to like these super cool Italians, like riding up like to Cafe Del Mar on motorbikes with ripped up jeans, looking like Al Pacino, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. And then you're just all talking, all sharing, there was no inhibition.
Ibiza was always good for that sort of thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, and there was no judging. You know, it was like, oh, you know, you're not, you know, you in your dungarees and you in your Armani suit, you're absolutely in the same vibe, in the same place, in the same gig, digging the same shit, you know? So it was like, that was so, it was enormous
Was it spiritual for you, or was it?
Massively, like massively. It made me think that everything was possible.
Yeah.
You know, people are just like, you know, good people. People are fair. They love music. They love art. They are, you know, everybody is switched on by this background of like endorphins that enlighten you, like music or sand or sea or sun or...
Yeah. All of the above.
Yeah, and, you know, and having that in abundance.
And it was in abundance.
Incredible, tropical, musical background that never failed you, whether you were in a, you know, one of your parties, in Amnesia with Alfredo, listening to Jose Padilla at Cafe Del Mar, wherever you were, the landscape of the sound just turned me on, every single thing.
It opened up a lot of people's... because it wasn't just the dance music; it was the chill out music. It was a little.
And I mean, obviously,
it was a mixture of different things, and that part of the day you can go and do that, and the next, in that part of the day you can go and do something else. It was very good for that, wasn't it? Opening your mind to different sounds and stuff.
And people releasing their inhibitions. I think that you can only do that if you feel absolutely comfortable, and I think that what people like us have been fortunate enough to see in our lives and being in this event world is that there is no class on a dance floor, there is no sex, there is no colour, there is no creed, there is, and so on. We're in a world now where the immediacy of being under a spotlight, which social media has given everybody, which is fantastic sometimes, but it also creates divides, hate.
But there was none when we started out.
There was nothing like that.
There was no phones, no internet, there was nothing.
My mum didn't even know I wasn't coming home in 1987 until I went to like because my mum's friend had a little burger restaurant in San Antonio, which was right by Cafe Del Mar. And it was like, I'd actually overstayed like 10 days and I was already working and everything. I was quite an independent, very, very young teenager. I was already working, but by the time, it's like, I better phone my mum and just say that I'm actually not coming back,
Get worried about you.
Really sort of thing, and it was like coins in a phone box, so yeah.
Proper old school.
You know that, so.
I do wonder sometimes how I possibly put 10,000 people in queue.
Yeah.
Without any social media and without any phones, it was just flyers and posters and word of mouth, that was it.
Magic, magic of, I just remember looking up and seeing Cesar at Coup or Alfie at Amnesia or Pipi at Pasha and seeing like these DJs who, I don't know, they just were a bit godlike, I was a bit like...
Before the godlike DJ. Almost,
like the real gods, the gods that have actually influenced the gods of the British press. Let's face it.
The way it worked was the likes.
Me included.
Carl Cox and everybody else, even Paul Oakenfold, they all relate to Alfredo, Pipi, and so.
Yeah, like me included. I have had a career.
They were influenced. It was an influence. Yeah, it was an influence.
It was. I was taught so much, but I learned from it, and it didn't mean sitting behind a desk with things ultimately being of a digital nature where I could press a button and someone else would do it for me. Yeah. So all of those things and encompassing all the music.
You were going to ask about the vinyl, weren't you?
Oh, right. Yes. So one of my main questions is, and this is for the viewers who are DJs themselves.
Yeah.
Obviously, times were different back then. It was the vinyl era in the early days. My biggest question is, how did you have your records in Ibiza? Did you bring them with you?
Yeah, you carried.
Long arms.
You carry them. I carried them.
If you got someone to help you, it's all the better, wasn't it?
Yeah, I carried 2 boxes of records around for decades.
It was a pain, though, wasn't it? But you did it because that's the only way you could do it, isn't it?
Yeah, it did. it almost was unquestionable, because it wasn't, there was the only thing that you were going there to do was to play the records, but also your style, your sound, who was Lisa Loud then. Yeah. So it had to be my boxes of records. Don't get me wrong, there's times when records don't turn up, there's times when your clothes don't turn up. Yeah. It just got to a point for me where records, things were diminishing, respect of sort of formats, and formats change. That's technology. People were sort of moving over to CD, and CDJs were coming into play sort of with the technology involvement. But in actual fact, what for me became so painstaking was, every time I went on tour, I would get stopped at customs, because if your records go through any scanning device, it comes up as just one big black circle. So the minute that 9/11 happened,
everything was good.
Oh, wow. And I physically, because I was trying to be I'm still carrying vinyl. Do you know what I mean? Still going to Germany or Russia or whatever, and taking my vinyl, and eventually I was just like,
it is easier now with the thing.
I physically can't do it for so many reasons, and then being digital, it opens up so many floodgates for so many different styles of music. You have to carry so much more music. I think that the last time I was, just a bit of stats, the last time I was at My Soul Radio, Lindsay Wesker said to me, there's something like 95,000 releases uploaded every day. I used to be a music promoter, and I promoted Soul to Soul, Massive Attack, Nana Cherry, various big acts. And he said, when you were doing all that, it would be 4,000 promos or so.
Well, everyone can make music in their bedroom
a week.
Now. Yeah, everyone can make bedroom music.
That's the landscape of how mad it is now, and how much it's changed.
Yeah, huge.
Probably why so many people have to push and promote their music on so many platforms.
Yeah.
Get lost,
Easily get.
Hear it. Yeah. So another question we like to ask, especially as you're a DJ, who's your favourite DJ? I know you're going to say, but it's tell everybody else who's your favourite DJ.
I think so many. I am sort of best friends with what I consider to be like the best DJs in the world, and I feel so blessed for that. But I have to give the crown to the late great Alfredo. And the reasons for that is how much the musical landscape of what he was playing completely was a different view to everything that I was.
He changed the rules a bit, didn't he? It wasn't just dance music, he was putting all sorts of stuff on.
Beastie Boys alongside, Mr. Fingers, alongside Jabaro, Elkin and Nelson, with Carly Simon Y. Yeah. So like 98 beats per minute to 120 beats per minute, Chicago House to the Beastie Boys,
Whoever would have thought of William Pitt City Lights was his closing track. I had this conversation with Paul Oakenfold about,
it just shows how brilliant a DJ he was, and how switched on his ears were, that he could visualise this atmosphere and this euphoria by not following any genre-specific.
He just took a bit from everything. That's what Balearic Beats is. It's a little bit of this and that. And
he's not, and he, and the thing about Alfredo and this little scene of ours is,
scene now.
When he was poorly, is how many people, helped, donated, tried to help him get back to health or the best of his life, whatever was laid before him. Yeah.
A lot of the DJs did. Drinking and drugs and
that was not Alfie, was it?
It's not that. There's a lot. When it comes to that
he was taken.
I think he had a great life though. Playing his music and opening a lot of people's minds to what he was doing. I think that's his, legacy, isn't it?
I think time has taught people like us, that there are pioneers, once upon a time, it's the Rolling Stones, and for us it was Alfredo, this Brazilian DJ, Argentinian.
He moved to Ibiza.
Yeah, he did.
From Argentina.
Oh, but he bought all the flavours, didn't he?
Yeah, it was just, enormously eclectic, but there was a fusion, where the energy just didn't die. I think that going forward, DJs that were learning how to mix, like beat match, they would think that they had to have all of the beats per minute, which is the BPM, at the same, so 118, 121, whereas Alfie, it wasn't a construction like that in an Alfredo set. It was, and if you just drop it from the top.
I've got to tell you something that I didn't know, but I recently did a podcast with PP. Do you know PP was the one that helped Alfredo?
It wouldn't surprise me.
He was the one that Alfredo was asking him, I'd like to be a DJ.
Right.
When he went to Ibiza, and he said, where can I get my records? Where'd you get your music from? PP was the one that actually put him on his way.
Right.
It's quite a nice...
That's wonderful. Well, we all love him.
We all love PP as well, yeah.
I mean, what a guy. Yeah, I do a party in London. It's the Balearic Beat Party, and they used to do 2 a year, but they've only got 1 this year.
It's a great track, I Love You Baby.
Classic, massive hit, full of energy, full of love, and I play alongside him, which is always a total delight, because when you're busy and you're still trying to make money from a very, very non-lucrative career that's incredibly sketchy.
What people don't realise, prior to us,
I don't see anyone anymore.
Prior to us arriving in Ibiza, someone like PP or Alfredo or Cesar would play the whole night in those.
Oh, the whole night. The whole night. 6 hours. 6 hours.
Longer.
Alfie, because then when they did the second room in Amnesia, which was like 87, wasn't it? So then it would be like more techno, and there'd be like dogs on ropes and God knows what else. So you'd have all the mad, colourful, the girl with the Barbie dolls stuck on her head and the wedding dress and the
But people don't realise that, do they? They didn't.
All night long. 12 hours sometimes, easily.
Until, I turned up, that suddenly I was introducing these new DJs to them. They didn't like it at the beginning.
No, I know that.
But we're all good friends. We all ended up being good friends.
I've just got so much respect for them. I've just got so much respect for their integrity, so much respect for, it's not easy DJing anywhere on a regular basis.
And they were doing it 7 nights a week. They were doing it every single night.
You want to be fresh, you want to sound different. And I don't think that there's I could put a playlist together for you from what reminds me of Cesar or PP or Alfie, but actually my experiences every single time I went to enjoy the dance floor with those DJs, I did not feel like I was hearing a repetitive set, ever. That says a lot,
of course.
And that influenced me a lot. When I used to do a radio show, I wanted every single week to be different. I didn't want everyone to be going, oh, she is playing that old bloody chestnut again. I wanted to play 2 hours of new music every single week.
Is that the same now? You still want to
just about to get realigned with the radio station. So yes, and it will be. It will be because Lisa Loud is a name from a long time ago. I could absolutely sell out and do a classics night every night of the week.
Yeah.
I am, and
but
have
it's
never.
New music that you're more.
But I've never waned from wanting to hear new inspirational music.
I mean, last year, 25, I thought was a good time for dance music.
Yeah.
Some great tracks came out last year.
There's artists that, for me, I know that Alfredo would be going crazy for. Cesar probably is, like At Jazz, Jimpster, Fred Everything. There's like Crackerzat. It's wicked deep but funky and soulful and bassliney kind of house music out there. That's not released on Defected. It's not really, it's not really commercial. You've got to work to find the new. What are they doing? Who have they remixed and stuff like that? But for me, they are developing sounds. That keep things underground. They're keeping everything that's still sitting under that line where I'm scurrying around going, what have they done now? That sort of thing. So
I always liked it in the early days when you guys used to put the white labels and not let everyone see what you're playing.
Gatekeeping. Well, and this it solidifies my stats.
Everybody's looking to see what you were playing.
It's like, because there was only so many that you could actually keep a secret, right?
Yeah. You found a fantastic white. No one else has got it. No one's going to get it.
Spectrum stickers. It was like, I actually think that he did that artwork to actually have a Spectrum sticker over his white labels. But but then he was so incredibly generous. I mean, he gave me 2 boxes of records.
Who's sorry?
Oakley.
Listen. He is a superstar DJ, isn't he? Yeah.
Listen here, all you got to do, blah, 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 all these little tips.
He was our first guest. I mean, I've been friends with Paul a long time, and it was nice to get a superstar right off the bat.
I sent him an email. He responds within 24, 48 hours. This is a guy that's like, I don't know, God knows what he's doing these days every day. But
He's got a hotel in London.
Yeah, but it's like, he's one that hasn't necessarily forgot his roots. He's not flying me out to LA and like giving me, a kind of month in some gorgeous villa or anything.
No.
Okay. No. I'm really grateful.
Yeah. No, listen, he's quite generous with his time, and the podcast with him was fantastic. Talking about the music and that, it was nice.
We are music people. We are, we're people of the night. And it's all
and the day now.
Well, the day rave. It's like it's the king of the clubs, isn't it? We are. We are fundamentally intertwined because of whatever that music was talking to us. That's what made the difference and brought everybody together. Because without a soundtrack, yes, we've all got personalities, we're diverse people, we've got stories to tell. But without a soundtrack, there's just not something that's rebounding constantly, that gives you this other thing.
Yeah, it was always about the music. I mean, that's the root of everything, the music. Yeah.
Good vibes.
Still makes me go like that.
One thing I've been dying to ask as well, was there a record shop in Ibiza where all the DJs used to go to find new records?
I can't remember the name of it.
There was one in Ibiza town, and there's one in the corner at the back going towards Mera.
In Ibiza town.
Yeah, this one, I don't know the names of them.
Oh my God.
All the DJs are in there. Let me tell you, every DJ was in there.
Did you go there?
Yeah.
It must have been a buzz though.
Buzzing outside.
Was there a couple of
The same thing was happening in the UK. I mean, any DJ, that was,
Steve
playing.
Dempsey had vinyl thing down the road. This is where we are today.
I mean, so Black Market, City Sounds. Oh God, to remember, because I used to
Dave
promote.
Piccioni from Black Market now is in Ibiza and Amante, isn't he?
Was.
He now runs Amante.
Okay, right. I didn't know that. Right.
So it's all
something draws you back. Yeah.
So I mean, back in the day, that was called Sold on Soul or something like that. And when he bought it, he turned it into Amante.
Okay, I did not know that.
Yeah. Have you not been down there?
No.
Go there. It's nice.
Yeah, I will do. Yeah, I'm only just getting back to Ibiza now. I have to credit Lisa for a bit of that, really, because I was sort of, the 90s was like, woo! Because, I was out there month on month for years, DJing for lots of brands, but also DJing for, a Singaporean club brand called Zouk, DJing for the brands in Ibiza. A lot of time spent, a good decade or more.
Imagine a big up to Clockwork or something like that.
Yeah. I used to play for them a lot. Actually, I'm playing for them next Saturday. There's always something to discover in Ibiza.
I like to when I go there, I never stay in the same place. I try to stay somewhere different to get a different.
It's only a little place, isn't it?
It's only a little island, but I thought it was really little.
From one end to the other in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But
there's so many new places. It's unbelievable.
Like the Calagracio restaurant, because that's near.
The Gracio
used to be the fancy, gorgeous restaurant in my head that I feel like I remember Calagracio.
No, it was just.
Right.
No, it's changed. Javier bought it.
Oh, okay. So see, I'm not in. I don't know so much about the politics or speak to many people. Kept seeing it, and didn't do it. And then my fella and I went and had some, a very long, lazy lunch there.
Typically Ibiza.
That cove, and and it's I mean,
That's Grassanetta. That's beautiful place.
My mind is not the same. 40 years of raving under my belt, and then the general female shit that goes on. So I have to write a lot of stuff down. But there you go. But yes, Cala Grassanetta.
Yeah.
That was lovely.
It is lovely. It is lovely.
And from up there, the water's so gorgeous.
Yeah, the little cove.
It's like a bay, right? Oh yeah,
lovely.
Yeah. So that was like, in a way, talking like nearly 40 years later, that was like a bit of a new discovery for me a couple of years ago. And I was like, although I do know lots of people go there, don't they? And are really fond.
Well, he's also got a little bit further around the coast. He's also got El Toro, which is it's like an upmarket sunset. All the Spanish go there, and it's up on the rocks, and it's a different version of his Mambo. Yeah. This is like a more sophisticated, nice food place to do sunset.
Yeah, I need to not just go and be a DJ and then leave a couple of days later. Do you know what I mean? Because I need to refresh my memories of the wonder stuff that Ibiza always has been to me.
That's why I spend all my time now, all the nice restaurants.
Yeah.
I still do. I like the daytime parties but being out all night long, I'd rather get up and do a bit of sun and have a nice lunch.
I'm all for that, babe. I hear you, brother.
What's the best cuisine in Ibiza?
That's everything.
And sometimes I think they're a victim of their own success. You can be too fancy and it be a lot of sparkle and not a lot of substance. One of my favourite restaurants over there is called. It's because of the age. It's honestly. Oh, where is it? It's come to me. It's Can Pilote. It's a restaurant in San Rafael.
Okay, yeah.
It's
not the meat restaurant, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
It's exactly that.
Yeah.
So it's not on the beach. You don't get sparklers with your champagne.
Like Argentinian.
It's like a thinker, really.
Yeah. But the style is that Argentinian. It's a meat feast, basically.
It is, and it is.
It's a good restaurant.
The best meat you will eat in Ibiza.
Yeah.
Wow.
1,000%, I will tell you that, because I love my steak.
They do all sorts of rabbit and everything, don't they?
It's just, and it's like you're in someone's very big home. Yeah. Everyone's Spanish in there. You always have to book. It's always sold out. It's not fancy. It's it's just thinker style, but that is the most incredible restaurant. And all of the wines that you would, if you was drinking it on a beach club, you'd be paying like €300 for it. You're really reasonably.
It's been there a long time. That restaurant's been there.
Yeah, it's I think forever, but for me it was maybe 20 years.
And I don't think it's changed. It's kept its.
It's absolutely,
authentic.
Absolutely like that.
Where was the first place you DJ'd in Ibiza?
The very first would have been. So it's I'm sorry. We are talking 30 years ago. It's either going to be Es Paradis, Pasha, or El Divino.
Oh, amazing.
So, I'm sorry, I can't exactly.
No, it's absolutely fine.
Probably that week you did them all.
Yeah, exactly.
How did that come about? Were you DJing for those events in the UK, and then they kind of brought them over to Ibiza, and then they kind of sent you with them?
Predominantly, yes. So El Divino was Miss Moneypennies. Es Paradis would have been Clockwork Orange. Pasha. I actually did get booked for Pasha and Lisa Loud. I'm trying to think though the years, because then also I'm trying to think. Zouk, 1996, and Zouk, Pasha Ibiza, 1997. But then I was resident by then. Oh God, I can't remember.
He does go into one.
There was a bit of both.
Yeah.
I was part of a DJ roster that was, more kind of designed from the venue, and then also part of a DJ roster that was brought in from UK promoters.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And the other question I have, what are your 3 favourite tracks?
Like,
It's a lot.
how hard this is, but I'm going to say I'm going to mention some tracks that remind me of people. So, Moments in Love.
I love that.
By Art of Noise.
I love that. It takes you on a journey, doesn't it?
I think it's like 11 minutes.
It's a long track, but it does take you on that journey. Do you know that track?
Record,
No.
Fantastic track.
Looking into it.
Like,
Oh, yes, I do know that track.
Everyone knows that
that's, yeah.
That record was Jose Padilla's We're Gonna Make You Miss
but you
Your
could play
Flight Again, Lisa Lam.
it was very versatile, that track, wasn't it?
But he played that record. His sets were incredible. R.I.P. Another absolutely beautiful soul from our scene. But he played that tune at a time when that sun was going down. And it was literally like he was in tune to the sun. I mean,
Well, they were.
everything
That's
was
the whole.
Amazing.
There was a wave crashing, and then there was like another, like the
Well, he
sound
created
would
that.
build, and then the sun would drop a little bit more, and it was like
He would literally. I mean, he created that sunset,
off
didn't
my
he?
conkers, or
Yeah. No, he
happening. Do you know what I mean?
No, he literally. As the sun dipped into the sea, the music would die, and then a few seconds later,
Probably why you remember
like-
it so well. It's such a
Yeah.
magical moment.
It's those sort of things, yeah. The other is for dearest Alfredo, which is Elkin and Nelson Jabaro, which is that record was recorded live in the 70s. And if I play it now, in
That's
a
your
club,
typical
it
Balearic beat
absolutely
track, isn't it?
Smashes the granny out of it.
Yeah, but Jabaro.
So, I remember just going, "What the is this?" You know, it was just like, wow. You know, loads and loads of flamenco guitar and percussion that was all over the place because it was recorded live.
Yeah.
But it just was perfect.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Spanish vocals. It was just.
It is the ultimate sort of Balearic beat, isn't it? It's a bit of everything.
I cry, you
It's a
know,
bit of
because
everything.
there's so many, again, memories that evoke.
Two great choices. What's your third?
Third is going to be, and this is a bit more of a PP track, or all of them, Cesar, PP and Alfie, and it's Don Carlos Alone, which is Balearic AF. It don't get more Balearic than that. So yeah, that went on. I still play these records. That's, you know, that's the point.
Yeah.
Is that these records are forever records.
You kind of keep them in your sleeve, don't you, if they're your favourites?
Yeah, they're my faves.
Oh.
Yeah, and they evoke so many wonderful memories. So they're just incredibly special. And, you know, musically switch on, you know, layers and layers, like listen to this music. Not, you know, the 45-second attention span of TikTok. Do you know what I mean? Listen to this music.
Well, say the first track is, like you say, 11 minutes long.
Yeah, I think it is.
You can listen to it.
I might have got that wrong.
No, it's an extremely long track. Right?
Yeah, but just like Alan was saying, just this association to that sun going down and Jose, like, I don't know, missed too many flights because of that man. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, it's all his fault.
So, my last question to you: do you have any big memorable moments or any crazy stories that you'd like to share?
Where do you start, really? You know, space. You know, what was going on there?
Alex P was going on.
You know, what was going on there? You know, my best friends were all the boys. So I was the only female DJ, really, with like Seb Fontaine, Brandon Block, Alex P, Tall Paul. I used to stay in the villa with the Clockwork Boys, and I was like their mother because state of the place all the time. You know, our late great Baggy, who was one of Brandon's best friends.
He was Brandon's best friend.
Yeah, you know, coming down from the apartments above Cafe Del Mar in little Bo Peep outfits, like, you know, I DJ'd at the Millennium for Manumission. So I did 1999.
Oh, what a time!
To 15,000 people. That event ran over a whole week because of the way that they do the celebrations in Spain. So it was hedonism at its best, but you know, it's a bit of a mic drop moment in the sense of like, you know, where were you in 1999? I'm never going to forget that.
Of course.
Well, I don't suppose anybody would ever forget where they were, but I just mean how blessed I feel that I was
manumission.
That was
during that time.
Amazing. Bora Bora. I mean, you know, we used to literally go, you know, from, you know, Coup, manumission to Space to Bora Bora to
it was crazy.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, you know, everything was a phenomenal memory.
Until you just couldn't take that one, you just go home and crash out, didn't you?
Like, you know, sorry, I'm not being specific really.
No.
But you know, you get quite encompassed by the magic of Ibiza. But what I said a little bit before is that I think that there's still so much to discover about it, and that's what makes it even more magic. Yeah. And as you get older, you don't want same things, so you might want to have a more beachy experience or a more spiritual experience and so on. So you know, or a health experience. It's all there.
It is, yeah. Kind of offers everything, doesn't it, Ibiza? Probably why it's so magical.
So it's the icons, isn't it? You're going to ask her about the icons?
Oh yeah, so who's your 3 most influential people?
Could be anything.
People in the world?
No, Ibiza. Who were your influences or your people that you remember or, you know, for me, I'll just give you an idea. My number 1 was Brasilia, because he gave me my start, and he was like one of my mentors, really. So
I suppose it's the 3 boys, isn't it? Alfie, Alfredo, PP,
as a DJ,
and Cesar.
Yeah, as a DJ, that probably makes sense.
Being around the very, very early days, and you know, you're talking like the 80s, you know, where those guys. They were music conductors. They played 12-hour sets.
Amazing.
It just blew my head off every time. So I think I have to give it to the boys that, you know, really
the 3 original
legends,
totally made me go woof. That's the best anxiety I've ever felt.
Because when I went out there in the early 80s, I'd go and see these guys, and you know, whoever thought that I was going to go back there and change it as well. Yeah. But they are very important because I would dance to them every night of the week.
Hours and hours.
I dance to their music every night of the week.
I have to respect Javier. I mean, it's so, you know.
Javier's one of mine as well. Yeah, I mean, me and Javier created the pre-party, so yeah.
But you know, just from a DJ perspective and things that absolutely just blew my mind musically, experience-wise.
We've been here today to induct you into our Ibiza Hall of Fame, and it's very well deserved.
Get me!
What a wonderful career you've had, darling.
Oh, thank you so much.
Look at that.
There is never enough smiley faces in this industry. Thank you.
You'll have to definitely frame it.
I absolutely love it. I will take a picture of it when it's up on a wall with my other lovely bits and bobs that have been so memorable for me. I love it.
Oh, yay.
Thank you. Very lovely. God, they're lovely.
They are really nice. So that's all we have for today's episode. To hear more from us at Ibiza Hall of Fame, make sure that you like, subscribe, and follow us on all of our platforms.
Follow that.
Have a good day. See you soon.
Brilliant.
Yay!
Right. Yeah, loved it. Loved it. You know, thank you so much for having me.